Okay, well, that was another successful sound sync here at the Made for Walking podcast. Boots, who are we?
Well, I'm Boots. I am your resident butterfly expert of the day.
Wow.
And who are you today?
I'm Tom, your resident butterfly know-nothinger. Your butterfly student.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
All
I like
right.
the way we're able to exchange roles. And, we're here at the Made for Walking podcast here to talk about animal migration, movement, and behavior. Would you say that's what we're about?
I think, we're all about the movement.
Yeah.
We're just going with the flow of animals.
That's all we can do. It's the flow of animals and the flow of conversation.
Yeah.
Here to learn and inspire.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of inspiration, I got something written on this tea bag. Would you
Oh,
like
it's
to hear
another
it?
yogi tea quote? I
Not
love tea
yogi.
quotes.
It's a traditional medicinals.
Ooh, let's try it.
What a desolate place would be without... let me try again. What a desolate place would be a world without a flower.
You know, good thing we bring up flowers. It's a day we're going to talk about flowers today. Quite a bit, actually.
That's fantastic. I need to talk about flowers because let me tell you, it snowed 12 feet here last week. 12 feet. And it's snowing 2 feet today. And we'll get like another 4 feet this week. Boots, all I do is shovel.
Yeah, I say, what is your life without snow shovel in hand right now?
A delightful break from hell.
Is it like cold when you're out there shoveling all that snow, or is it just like just too much snow?
It's just too much snow. It's not too bad. It's probably like mid-20s, low 20s right now.
Okay.
So it's not too cold, and the snow is very light. So you got to get it while it's fresh before it gets heavy and turns into the Sierra cement. But yeah, it's a little insane here.
Yeah, because you're under a state of emergency right now.
Yeah,
Or at least that's what
they're
I saw
telling
on
me.
like the news.
It's like, we're not that close to any big mountains at the moment, but the people who live right by a mountain, they're having some problems. There's a big avalanche over at Palisades Resort, buried some houses a bit.
Oh,
Luckily,
God.
nobody got hurt, but there's a dramatic picture of someone's window just smashed and snow in their house.
My God, it's got to be pretty crazy just to have like an avalanche hit your own house.
Yeah, that would suck. Not ideal. But, yeah, things aren't that crazy. Like, people are going to work at resorts.
Okay.
Things aren't completely shut down. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. I hope it slows down after this week. It seems like we're just in one big old storm right now. Hopefully spring comes in hot.
Yeah, spring will be coming here soon. Because, I've been seeing the videos and the pictures. I've seen your pictures even. Like, you're like walking on the roof, basically.
Yeah.
When you walk out the front door, which is pretty nuts to me.
Yeah, it's a little nuts. Those snow piles are super high. Oh, well,
Gotta
what
make
you
a
going
big
to do?
Yeah, build a big snowman.
Build a big snowman, maybe an igloo.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want to build an igloo, get some hot chocolate going, and like make giant mushrooms out of marshmallows, and then like walk around on my knees, and just pretend to be an elf. I think at this point that would probably be the best mode of operating.
Yeah, I think that's how you gotta live life until spring rolls around, fully.
Well,
We're getting up
it is
there.
set. It is.
Yes.
It's been determined that that's how I will lead my life. So, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, congrats.
Thank you. Well, it is Sunday the 5th, March 5th. to be
Yeah, we're already in
specific,
March.
About 3:14 p.m. Pacific time. What time you got over there in the mountains?
4:14 over here in wonderful Wyoming.
Wonderful Wyoming. Beautiful. Wow.
Do love it here.
Well, you know what it's time for, Boots?
Is it time to talk about an incredible animal?
Well, I sure as heck hope so.
I think it is. So this week
Incredible.
I am covering the Monarch Butterfly, to be specific.
Okay.
So everyone's pretty familiar with them, so I'm curious. What do you know about the Monarch Butterfly?
What do I know? Honestly, what do I really know? Not that much. I know they're like butterflies. I know that much. I know they have a life cycle. They go into a chrysalis. I get the vibe that they're big migrators, so I'm excited to hear about their big migration. I like that they look like flying flowers. They're pollinators.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically what I know about butterflies, monarch butterflies.
Well, perfect. So today, I think I'm going to switch up my formula. We're going to start. You mentioned that life cycle of a butterfly.
Uh-huh.
We're going to start right with it.
All right.
So, we have monarch butterflies. Scientific name, Danis plexippus.
Mm-hmm.
And they start out an egg. A little tiny egg.
Little tiny egg.
In a cluster, around 500 of them.
Whoa.
Of these eggs.
That's more siblings than I have.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's more siblings than the state of Utah has.
477. Oh, no. Where'd you go?
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay. Oh, yeah. This Google Meet stuff, now I'm looking at Craigslist. Something's wrong with my computer. Hold on.
No worries.
I turned off my monitor and... Okay, we're back.
Yeah, we're back.
There we go.
So yeah, we start with this egg around 500 on the underside of a very specific plant. It's probably the most important plant for the monarch butterfly species entirety.
Whoa. What plant? Milkweed?
Milkweed. Common milkweed. Yeah.
Wow. Who knew?
Yeah, it's pretty important actually. So they hatch from their egg.
Mm-hmm.
They turn into the monarch larva or caterpillar, as we talked about. It's a pretty interesting one. It's bright yellow, got black stripes on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they just chow down on that milkweed that they were born on. They eat their own home.
Yum. Whoa.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
My roommates get so mad when I start eating the house.
I know. I was like, little drywall is good to munch on every once in a while.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know. Tastes good. Makes me feel good. Like little caterpillar.
That's how you become a butterfly, is I have to eat the drywall.
I'm dying here. Just a bite. Or two.
Maybe even 3. So they sit there, and they stay in this stage of being very hungry caterpillars.
Great book.
Great book. Oh, who doesn't love it? But they do, and they sit there. They just eat and eat for about 7 to 17 days. They stay in this state, depending on where they're at in their life cycle and how things are going for them.
Wow.
Because then, once they kind of hit that maturity, they immediately start going for cocoon. So they use all their special, they use all their stuff. They get into a cocoon, and that's where they're going to stay on the other side of some of these chewed up leaves for about 12 days. 2 weeks length.
Is there a difference between chrysalis and cocoon?
Nope, it's the same thing.
Okay.
Just different names. Just like the idea of caterpillar. Caterpillar are actually known as larvae at times with butterflies. So when I was doing my research, it quite frequently came up as the monarch larva will be doing their activities. But I tend to go with the common term of caterpillar because I find it pretty fun.
Yeah, I would much prefer that as well.
Mm-hmm. It's too scientific sometimes. Gotta dumb it down.
Just, for the sake of conversation, caterpillar.
Mm-hmm. Caterpillar. Yeah. And so they're going to come out of this cocoon or chrysalis in a pretty cool state. We've all seen a monarch butterfly, at least pictures of them. They got these bright, beautiful orange wings, black dots on them. And they wingspan about 4 inches from tip to tip.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty light guys. They are less than half a gram.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They are.
So male and female species differ in size. Females tend to be a little smaller than the males.
Mm-hmm.
And males, they have a lot of those black dots on the veins of their wings. They got more of the spotted texture of them. That's how you can kind of tell a good difference. And thus begins a pretty short lifespan, actually. Monarch butterflies do not live very long. At times. It's kind of an interesting thing about butterflies is their life cycle depends on when they emerge from their chrysalis. And it's a little strange how they work, but they spend their summer months where they hatch. They start out
Mm-hmm.
in kind of southeast Canada, northeast United States. That's where their life cycle, or a good chunk of their life cycle, begins, and that's where they start out. However, winter comes, the milkweed where they can lay eggs starts dying down, and their food sources start dying down. And what a lot of monarch butterflies do is they drink nectar. They got that straw kind of nose. They get in there, drink that, cover their face in pollen, and that's where their pollination cycle begins. But one really interesting fact that I found out about how monarch butterflies particularly, learn about the plants that they're eating. That they like to know what's going inside them. They read the label in a very interesting way.
Yeah.
They have sensory organs on their feet.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wild.
So they taste. We can say taste with their feet.
Damn.
So they get on their flower. They can sense what kind of flower it is based off of certain chemicals on the flower that they absorb into their sensory glands, causing them to taste with their toes.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I would be a fan of tasting with my toes, because I think all I would be tasting is socks all day.
Yum. I feel like you can kind of taste things with your hands, like just a little if you concentrate, like just a tad. These could also be psychosomatic episodes, and I might need help.
Because I was like, I just ate I had some cheese earlier. I didn't taste it when I picked it up.
Well, you were too focused on your tongue taste buds.
Okay, now I gotta just start thinking with my hands.
Yeah, get that hand, touch your desk. I'm telling you, you're gonna taste it just a little. Just a little.
Just a little bit. Okay, well now I really want to try this.
I mean, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, so they sit there.
I feel like you're glazing over this, but I'm just gonna let it go.
All right, fine. Now that you've said it, all right, we're just gonna pull out the cheese. I got the cheese. I got the cheese I was eating earlier. All right.
What do you just a little? No, you got to use like your palm.
Oh, okay, palm. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not getting much. I'm gonna be real with you. I think I just have some cheese on my hand now.
I think your hand nose is broken.
That's probably what it is.
What kind of cheese you rocking? Block of cheddar?
No, spicy pepper jack.
Ooh, you dog, you.
I know. Well, I had it from yesterday. Side note, I went on a poker run yesterday.
Whoa.
Yeah, with cross-country skiing.
Okay.
Absolute shit show.
Wait, poker, like you played poker with...
I didn't. We ended up getting
people.
too drunk and such on the trails. I know.
Fun. You, dog, you.
I know. I'm on my dog years right now. But no, it was out on this like hiking trail. We went, we just cross-country skied, plowed into a bunch of people. I mean, there's probably like...
Who'd you run into?
I didn't run into anybody, thankfully, myself, because I kept falling over before I was able to hit them, but I was getting pretty close to smashing some people with the cross-country skis.
Oh my gosh. Can you get a DWS? Or
thankfully, no.
Drunk. No, I guess it'd be a SWD.
Yeah, I like that. SWD.
Skiing while drunk.
Yeah. Did not end up getting an SWD. Very fortunate.
Did you get any other 3-letter acronyms that start with an S?
Did not, thankfully.
Attaboy.
Yeah. Nope. And then, we just, I brought like a bunch of snacks and foods, and all I ended up doing was like drinking a bunch of beer and eating like raw hot dogs that they had at the bonfire at the end of the
You never got to the cooking yet?
I tried to, but the flame was too hot and my hot dog stick was just a little too small.
Weren't you in the forest?
Yeah.
Were there sticks there?
I guess
this is where the alcohol comes in.
Yeah, this is where the alcohol decision making comes in, and I was like, well, this stick's right here. And then I picked it up, stab a hot dog on it. Did not feel like trudging through all the snow.
I get it.
And
The cold
and then just
changes things.
does. And then I got way too close to the fire. My hand got some knuckle hairs burned.
I mean, who knows?
And I was like, yeah. So I just decided, you know what? Hot dogs are cooked enough to begin with, and just kind of chowed down.
I love it. Wow.
It was an experience.
I didn't leave the house yesterday. I didn't go outside.
That's fair. You've been buried in snow.
Yeah, it was a little sad. But I did go outside today to shovel.
That's good.
Yeah. Might be able to leave the house tomorrow. Maybe
That'll be
tonight. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, there's my side tangent on what I got up to this week.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I have a Nintendo 64 emulator for my computer. I've been playing so much fun. Gosh.
It's good.
I almost said the
it's
F
good
word.
stuff.
I don't know. Yeah. Scandalous.
We're just living our best lives out here.
Yeah, I've unlocked a lot of characters. Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time.
That's a very good time. So I can't taste. So what we've ended up with, I can't taste with my hands. You can, along with Monarch Butterflies.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Continue.
Yes. So they want to escape that cold because it kills off a lot of their food sources. So they do a pretty incredible trek. They go pretty far on this migration of theirs.
Really?
It's estimated they travel between 1,200 and 2,800 miles.
That's
from northeast
impressive.
U.S. to central Mexico.
Holy crap! So wait, they start where in the U.S.?
Kind of northeast. United States, southeast Canada.
Wow.
They tend to stick in mountain forests. They love trees.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. And I don't know if you've ever seen, but they migrate in very large groups.
I've never seen that.
So yeah, I've never been able to see a monarch migration, and a lot of people are actually starting to see less and less monarch migrations.
That's depressing.
Yeah, the monarch butterfly is considered an endangered species.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately,
are there West Coast monarchs?
not a ton.
Gotcha.
There are pockets, it looks like, from what I'm looking at here, just quick on like maps and stuff from Monarch, what's called Monarch Milkweed Mapper. So trusted sources always. It looks like there's pockets that do exist within the West Coast, like southern LA kind of area.
They would go that way. They're so pretty.
They are pretty. They're gonna get cast in the next Marvel movie, I swear.
God bless.
But yeah, they winter down in Mexico. They need to get their tan on.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, no, so they go down to Mexico, where they hibernate, actually.
Yeah.
From November to mid-March, and then they move back up.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do a long haul. From about 1,200 to 2,800 miles, depending on where they start out when they hatch. So it's a little shorter of a jaunt if they're born kind of more south, but if they're more north, they'll still make it down to around central Mexico. And what's nice about the Monarch Butterfly, they got a pretty good defense mechanism built in. A couple, actually. Because when they're doing this long journey, they got to protect themselves.
I mean, Mexico, the cartel, it's dangerous.
The cartel. Yeah, that goose cartel we were talking about earlier.
The goose cartel. Yeah, I mean, come on.
It's scary stuff. So one of the defense mechanisms is that bright orange color that we talked about earlier. It's a warning sign, but it's not quite off. See, the plant that they eat, milkweed as caterpillar, it's kind of toxic. It's not very good for you. You're not supposed to eat milkweed.
Okay.
But butterflies have adapted to be able to eat milkweed.
Nice.
So animals will still eat monarch butterflies, but they're not a prime target.
Don't they like taste bad?
They taste awful,
Yeah.
and that's due to the milkweed toxin that's still in their body.
Nice. Smart.
Yeah. So they eat toxic plants, become toxic people.
Nice.
I know, right? They just gaslight all the time. Butterflies are the biggest gaslighters.
Someone's got to
toxic.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's kind of their main defense. Birds will taste that, spit it out. Same with lizards, same with other things. They will go after more of their predatory species that go after monarch butterflies, pursue them in the caterpillar phase before they're able to really develop that defense mechanism internally.
Get them while they're young.
Exactly. It's easier prey to catch, too, due to monarch butterflies flying. And the other big defense mechanism is their numbers. They go by like hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of monarch butterflies stay with each other. There's an interesting phenomena called clustering that they do.
Okay.
And it's pretty interesting to see some pictures. So I'll go ahead and describe it to you, what clustering is. So monarch butterflies, it's unknown why they do this. There's a lot of different theories on it, but they'll group together on trees and on like high up tree branches and such to these just giant pods of monarch butterflies within the hundreds to thousands of them.
Wow.
And it's pretty incredible. And they flap their wings, these orange waves go around, but they cover the tree. Like you can't see anything but butterflies on these trees.
I like that.
Yeah, and one of the lead theories for this clustering is that it is for defense. It is to show there's just too many butterflies, too bright of colors for animals to consider what they are and try to eat them.
Right.
So it's a pretty incredible thing that they do while they're on their migration paths.
There's some pretty insane pictures.
Oh, yeah. No, it's crazy. So when they get down to Mexico, that's where they hibernate. And they'll stay there for a while, and then they'll make that same journey back up to more of their nesting grounds. Yeah, so they'll shoot back up to Northeast America, United States of America, and Canada. But I kind of want to tell you about something I've learned about monarch butterflies I didn't know. It's their cultural significance.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So, especially down in Mexico, they're pretty culturally significant. It was believed at the time from certain tribes that had lived down there and had established presences in Mexico that a butterfly is the soul of the dead, dead relatives, dead warriors, that they are now carried on the backs of these butterflies' wings. Which then in turn lines up with Dia de los Muertos. Because they'll get there, because once those butterflies arrive, they're arriving around the time of Dia de los Muertos down in Mexico. Just kind of solidifying that the dead have returned to their space and are now being part of the community again after their long journeys in the afterlife. So it's kind of important for them, they're significant. They show this idea that the dead are still with us and such. And
yeah, that's beautiful.
It's really awesome. It's really beautiful. But what happened in some of the states of Mexico, because Mexico is divided into states as well, is they started expanding and they started taking down these forests to create agricultural land. These forests were where the butterflies would hibernate. Yeah. And it was just because of this unknown. They didn't know much probably until around the mid 70s to late 70s about just the significance that this migration was for like the whole earth or at least for North America's like flower and plant life.
Right.
And so what happens is about 100 kilometers northwest of Mexico City, that's where a big population would go of these butterflies. That's where they're heading up. And what happens is in this little area, let me try to figure out where this is. Yeah, it's kind of on the border state of Mexico City, kind of their more capital state. There's this really awesome project that got built there called the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve.
Ooh.
Where local people started noticing the decline of butterfly populations post cutting down their forests.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't want that.
Yeah.
Obviously, they love the butterflies. They know just how important they can be.
Yeah.
And so they want to save what they called the butterfly colonies, which were their hibernation grounds. So they restart planting forests. They start planting milkweed. They plant nectar-rich flowering plants. And their numbers pop back up.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So much so that they now contain 70% of the hibernating population in this little area. Yeah. And it's just all because people realized that butterflies needed some like extra help, especially with climate change becoming more and more prevalent. That's becoming more of an issue now with butterflies. And so Mexico has kind of led the charge on butterfly conservation, which has been awesome to see. And not only with the historical and cultural significance, but also because Mexico isn't a tropical kind of state. A lot of flowers reside on the path from central Mexico to the northern U.S. and southeast Canada. So it's able to just keep going with that pollination, spreading the species around, helping out all these flowers. And it's just like this beauty of color and like, coexistence. It's such a beautiful thing, I think.
I'd say.
Yeah. And what's crazy to know is that even though butterfly population is down, it's interesting to see the difference between an insect that becomes endangered versus, like, say, a mammal species that becomes endangered. Because I'll let you take a guess here. How many butterflies do you think make it down to the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve?
300,000.
Maybe go up a little bit more.
500,000.
Maybe up just, I'll give you one last guess, but I would say go up a little bit more.
900,000.
It's estimated to be around 900 million to almost a billion. Butterflies make it back to the Biosphere Reserve. But that's...
I meant to put another zero in my answer. Honest mistake.
Yeah, it's an honest. It was on the tip of your tongue.
It was right there.
It was right there.
If you can see it.
Right to the left a little bit. I think it's good.
Okay,
right
good.
there. That's where it was hiding.
900
million.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting too, as well, with this migration, the numbers and their life cycle. Because what I also learned about this journey to Mexico that they do.
Yeah.
They only have 2 to 6 weeks before they can, before they die.
Whoa.
So they have to travel the 2,800 miles in about 2 to 6 weeks.
So, yeah, they can't really take the scenic route and enjoy all the beauty that North America has to. I mean, they're flying, so I guess they're taking it in.
They're flying, but they actually have a very interesting wing. Their flying pattern is actually pretty unique. Monarch butterflies are what are known as slow motion flyers.
Okay.
Um, they typically only flap their wings about 5 to 12 times a second, depending on how hard they're trying to move or how fast they want to get going.
Yeah.
Um, but they flap even slower when they're flying leisurely during migration.
Yeah.
They kind of ride the coast of the wind and just kind of glide with it, which is pretty
That
unique for
makes
butterflies.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, butterflies they are estimated to be around a minimum of 20 times per second wing flaps.
Whoa.
So these guys have a very slow, methodical, chill wing flapping. Right. Which is interesting because they do have to go so far, and that's when the idea of them gliding and catching air currents becomes more prevalent.
That makes sense. They have such big wings. That would be a lot of work. They're probably heavy. Be a lot of work to keep flapping them, and they're already so light. So why not?
Yeah, exactly.
I approve.
No, it's good. It's good for them.
It's good for them.
So they make it down there 2 to 6 weeks. That's called the second to last generation. So what happens is the last generation comes up at the year. These are the ones that are going to survive, get back up to Canada, and they live about 8 to 9 months, which I find very interesting that they are able to switch their life expectancy like tenfold almost.
How is that determined? They just
it depends, and they say it's a product of the environment they're in. Because they're hibernating and they're not doing as much traveling, and that their metabolism slows down, and they're also not dealing with cold weather, which also can increase a metabolism at times. So yeah, the last generation of the year typically can live up 8 to 9 months before heading back up to Canada and US. And a lot of people like monarch butterflies. I don't know anyone who has bad things to say about monarch butterflies.
So give me names.
Yeah, right. Because not a destructive species, great for pollinating a ton of flowers. So many different species too. It's very interesting because as they are caterpillars, they're only eating milkweed. That's the only thing they can eat. That's their body is just adapted to that. But once they become an adult monarch butterfly and they feed on nectar over eating plant material instead, they eat a wide variety. They want just high nectar any which way they can.
That's wild.
Yeah. And so, we talked about the conservation. We talked about how butterfly habitat had gone down. But another big thing that's gone down lately is food source.
Sure.
They don't have enough milkweed.
Damn.
I know, right? It's a shame.
Too. It sucks.
That's the worst. That's the worst, man. Can't run out of weed like that. Especially not your milkweed.
No. That's why I keep my weed covered in milk.
Just don't. So when I come over to visit,
here,
yeah,
hell yeah, come through.
Yeah, I'll come over. I won't drink any milk. I don't know what's inside of it.
No, I wouldn't. Well, I mean, it could be fun. Who knows?
That's true. We could have a little. Yeah, I wonder what milk and weed would taste like.
I don't know. I find the thought repulsive.
Yeah, it sounds like really bad matcha. Not matcha. Yerba mate. That sounds like the worst yerba mate of my life.
Yeah, I'd say.
So yeah. So what you can do? What can we do to keep helping these butterflies out?
Yeah.
A lot of people know about butterfly gardens. They want to plant flowers that'll attract them.
Right.
Any flowering plant with nectar is good. That's good stuff. We want that.
Yeah.
But especially if you live in kind of the northeast section of the US, southeast part of Canada, depending on where you're listening. But not even there. But most importantly, plant milkweed. That's kind
Yeah.
of the big thing that's been going down lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, that milkweed is so crucial for their egg laying and reproduction. And that's how they survive those first crucial 17 days into chrysalis or cocoon.
Mm-hmm.
After that, that's when like the more flower plants, more nectar, that's when that becomes important. But it's crucial that more milkweed is planted in your gardens if you want monarchs to be present.
Yeah.
And it's also really cool because if you do plant that milkweed, you'll be able to see them. You'll get close up looks at like eggs, and the caterpillars will be in your garden, and it's
They're
like
so cute.
it's they
The
are,
kids
and
will
it's just
love it.
like exactly. It's actually great for kids, and
Yeah.
you know it's kind of interesting, and I think it's really impactful for people when they are able to see that difference they're kind of making.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the other issue, unfortunately, is the global warming associated with climate change at the moment.
Yeah.
It's been throwing off their migration
Mm-hmm.
because flowering plants are dying quicker or they're blooming too soon, so their migration starts too soon, and then they get kind of stranded in food deserts where they aren't able to eat, and it's
Aw.
hard for them to make the journey all the way there, which is also why it's important that even if you don't live in like their nesting grounds or hibernation areas, it's
Mm-hmm.
great to have maybe start looking into
Mm-hmm.
good wildflowers that are native to your like
Yeah.
area, native to your climate, that can survive some of those like maybe quicker cold times or like more the quicker
Mm-hmm.
like heat in the winter times, things that'll survive that a lot easier. It's important to like figure out what native wildflowers are really good for your
Mm.
area because that's going to help their path, and that's going to help them if things are kind of screwed up due to like a warming globe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this one is just it's a species that is we look at pollinators, they're one of the more important ones for North America, at least, especially in the eastern part of North America, in central Mexico. We always like to think of the bees as being some of the most important pollinators and save the bee efforts, and we love those. We are big stands
Mm-hmm.
for saving the bee efforts. I think,
Yeah.
at least for myself, I'm a big bee guy.
Yeah.
um
Check out my movie on saving some bees at www.nearenthusiast.com.
Ooh, good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's important that we also facilitate
Yeah.
other pollinating species
Right.
that are a little bit more native to the to the North American continent.
Right.
Um,
Honeybees not even native.
They're not native, but the butterfly
rock.
is a native species.
Yeah.
Exactly. And planting those flowers is not only going to help out the monarch butterfly, but it will also maybe help out with the bees. And
Yeah.
a lot of pollinators just love this kind of stuff, but pollinators are super duper important.
So important. I mean, if we want to eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, any like fruit we love. I love a good apple every now and then.
Got some apples in
Pollinators.
the fridge. Yeah, you hear me out. This is kind of a radical idea. I've noticed
All right.
this growing trend with the issues that every animal that we've brought up faces.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it runs parallel with destroying natural environments.
Mm-hmm.
What if, hear me out,
All right.
we stopped destroying natural environments. Rather, we started building them up. Learn to
Mhm.
live alongside them,
Okay.
and just kind of saw what happened.
I
What
think
if-
that's a pretty solid idea.
All right. I
And-
think we'll do that one.
Yeah, and I mean those states down in Mexico kind of showed
Right.
it's possible.
And successful, yeah.
Because instead of having, because what had happened there is some of the farmers there noticed. Obviously, we want to farm. They want to farm.
Who doesn't?
Exactly, farming is it's important. We all hug a farmer. They help you eat.
I love farmers.
I do too. And what they noticed, and which was really crucial, is the crops weren't growing great. though they were given a ton of land, given a ton of opportunity to farm, you can't force what plants grow.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to force mildly successful harvests to pretty mediocre harvests at best, those farmers out in Mexico decided that, hey, instead of this, let's try something different.
Yeah.
Their economy is now better due to a ecotourism. People do travel just to go see these butterfly migrations and to see those clusterings that we discussed earlier. Not only that, but their climate has improved. Because now they're only planting certain species that they can harvest, but the butterflies and that has provided it's just provided a better like ecosystem for coexistence and such like that. And I think it's just a great example of that radical idea.
Yeah. Maybe. Hear me out. I'm gonna keep getting radical with you. Don't call the Department of Homeland Security on me, please.
I won't.
Thank you. Okay, hear me out. Okay, so instead of massive industrial farms, we slow down pointless labor. We redistribute the farming work to like everyone.
Okay.
So then, and people grow primarily food that's easy to grow in that area. And plants that are good for local pollination. And we eliminate wage slavery and redistribute wealth. And basically people can just kind of do other jobs as needed and then like farm and spend time with their families.
I like this. These are good. I think they're good takes. I think they're pretty good takes. And there's so many opportunities, especially, industrial farming is a big issue, I think. But it's just hard to get around it sometimes, and you got to have these ideas of like, I love the hydroponic ideas.
Yeah.
Yep. We are actually getting a brand new hydroponic facility built out here in Laramie.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a really cool place. I'm pretty excited about that being built here in town too.
Yeah.
So great opportunities with hydroponics. I love seasonal foods. I think the idea of seasonal, I shouldn't be able to buy a watermelon right now.
Right.
But I can,
Right.
And yeah, it's hard to go without the fruits and foods that you like so much. But if it's,
and it's not impossible I think it's possible to still have like some of it. And have a more natural way of farming.
Yeah. But, do you have any like community gardens and stuff like that out by you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know what's going on here in Tahoe, but I was assuming you meant Philadelphia, and
well, we could say Philly.
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and plug Introduction to Pollination. It's a short documentary on bees and community gardens and whatnot, and how important those are and why they're important. And kind of a little idea. It does give a nice introduction of these pollination cycles, what exactly we're relying on as a species, and how close that bubble is to popping.
Yeah, and I think with you moving out west here, have you noticed, I mean, you've probably heard about this water shortage with the Colorado River, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, tell me more about the Colorado River water shortage.
Oh, okay. So Colorado River, it's a major river that runs throughout the West. It is one of the most impactful rivers in the United States, at least. And it flows from around Wyoming, Colorado border, all the way down to Mexico. And, the soil out here is not really for farming in certain areas. Certain areas it can do really well. Southern California is a great example for good agricultural spots and such like that. But there's not a lot of like water. It's a finite resource, and especially with increasing droughts, with decreasing snow in the mountains and stuff like that.
Right.
The Colorado River has only become less over the last couple hundred years.
Yeah.
Um, and so
That sounds
with
like it
that,
correlates with the Industrial Revolution.
it does. Let me pull up a really good quote here
Yeah,
from
please do.
Zubulon Pike. Do you know who Zubulon Pike is?
No.
So there's a really famous mountain in Colorado named Pikes Peak.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Pikes Peak is named after him. Zubulon Pike was just a famous explorer who he went all over the place, but a big part of it was heading southwest. A lot of people doing the Oregon Trail, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, Lewis and Clark expeditions. He goes southwest,
Mm-hmm.
starts hitting more Grand Canyon, Arizona, Utah, Southern California. Let me find this one quote because he has a
Mm-hmm.
really good quote about the Colorado River. But he basically talks about how he noticed the water and it was
Mm-hmm.
just like it's not good. Don't do agriculture out here. It's not good for it. This is not a place for agriculture.
Mm.
And as you can see, that is not the case. No one followed that advice.
Yeah.
There's a ton of agriculture in the western United States.
Yeah.
And a lot of that land was used by migratory species, including such as our monarch butterfly that we talked about today,
Yeah.
Canadian goose at one point, um, white-tailed deer, all these species that
Mm-hmm.
relied on like more of the native species that there get wiped out and get
Right.
replaced by agriculture, by major agriculture
Right.
as the country kept growing. And
Right.
so it's just interesting the impact that agriculture can have on the environment.
Right. Especially, yeah, coming at it from an unsustainable perspective,
Mm-hmm.
like having these giant monocultures of like almonds or sunflowers and whatnot, soybean, corn,
Mm-hmm.
and not actually paying attention to like, yeah, what this area is going to need, what it can support, and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's concerning how things will shake out and how it'll start in the West and how
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because even your snow is going to have a really big impact
Yeah.
on California water right now.
Yeah, I guess that's a win for California, one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, every few seasons are like this. I don't know if it's enough, but I hope it sustains California a bit better for the year. That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, any thoughts? Any other things you want to add about the monarch butterfly?
No, I would just like, I think I said my piece. I'd love to see diverse, dispersed agricultural practice.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the answer to a lot.
I think it is.
But we have hell-bent leaders stuck on war, so
Yeah.
and
It's gonna
labor, and it's so bad.
Be... Mm-hmm.
It's so bad.
Yeah, things have got to change, but there are the little things we can do. Obviously,
Definitely.
it's not gonna be a top-down approach. It's only gonna be kind of grassroots, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, taking personal responsibility as individuals to give a shit and try not to cower in fear of our decaying
yeah.
world, which is
Instead,
hard.
plant some milkweed, plant
Just
some
plant
flowers.
some milkweed. Look at flowers. Research some animals. Look at a bug.
Yeah, just experience the natural world in the best way you can. I think that's like the main takeaway I have about
Yeah.
conservation is
Yeah.
I think once people experience
Mm-hmm.
and these incredible animals we've discussed, but also just having their own experiences outside. Whether that just be sitting on your front lawn,
Yeah.
having a soda. Hell yeah.
Whatever.
I love it.
Yeah.
Go outside.
It's a step-by-step process to how much we can offer back to the planet. But
It is.
It's our job, and it's a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
And we're in deep. We're in pretty deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I would just like to thank all the listeners. It has been awesome recording. These has been one of my favorite things. This is our season 1 finale.
Season 1 finale. So, Yeah, I think this has been a win. I think season 2 is pretty probable.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I think so too. I already have tons of animals I want to talk about.
yeah,
Been writing them down on a list.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of ideas in the pipeline, and I think we've got a lot of cool plans to expand this podcast and bring in some more experts too. I think
Yeah.
that'll be kind of what season 2 has to bring is trying to get other people who are experts in on this podcast to help educate us in the humanity, the human race.
Oh, the humanity.
Yeah, the humanity. That's kind of the theme of the last act of this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we're only 2 people doing research, one animal at a time. There's
Mm-hmm.
people that dedicate their lives to one animal or one ecosystem, one type of ecosystem. So, I think it's going to be really cool to see where this goes and watch the production quality just go up, up, up as we
Mm-hmm.
also learn and grow with our experience here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying talking about critters, and I don't want it to stop.
No, neither do I. So
No.
yeah, just want to again shout out to all the listeners.
Yeah.
Y'all have been awesome this
Yeah.
time.
And Christopher, if you're listening, Christopher Walken, we wouldn't be doing it without you, my guy.
No, you're a huge inspiration to us.
Yeah. It's just, we appreciate it. And yeah. So stay in the old loopity loop. We're excited to launch this thing. And yeah, don't forget to plant some flowers and look at butterflies if you're in the east. And I mean, I guess there's other butterflies in the west, right? There's butterflies here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no
Yeah,
fireflies.
No fireflies. No. Oh yeah, that's right. You probably haven't experienced fireflies.
No,
in the West,
oh yeah, no.
only in the east.
Yeah, I miss the fireflies.
Mm-hmm.
Aww. Thinking about fireflies. I'm gonna listen to that song now. All right, be well, humanity. And
yeah, we'll catch you in the next season.
yeah, maybe there might be some bonus episodes coming. I don't think we're just gonna leave people high and dry. Yeah, so season 2 will come out at some point, but keep your eyes peeled to help support this podcast so we can spread the love of animals and Mother Earth. And do our part to help the world. Depressing fire. Even if that means we'll just slowly die out.